Welcome back, YouTube. I am Matt the Supreme, and first I want to start this off by saying rest in peace to Kobe Bryant and the other 8 people that were on the helicopter that went down in Calabasas on Sunday. It was sad to say the least. It affected me greatly, and I also want to say that this video in no way is clickbait. I really wanted to talk about this because this is something that I'm seeing come up a lot in the sneaker community, obviously the last 2 or 3 days, and people have varying opinions, and I think it's my job to come in and really just hear all these different opinions and kind of combine them and share them with you guys and hopefully give you a little bit more insight. And so I'm going to be talking about reselling as it pertains to basically Kobe Bryant products. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about shoes, but I guess this could be extrapolated to other merchandise that he has, like jerseys and stuff like that. The point of discussion is that a lot of people, their pretty much opinion is that it's unethical to buy and sell his stuff because he just passed away. There's literally millions of grieving fans around the world. They're being taken advantage of. Basically, they're being price gouged because of the surge in demand, and the prices are going up at a rate that's basically excessive. It's really interesting because there's like so many different components to that, and there's so many different situations. Like, how can you say in one situation it's bad and then in another situation it might be okay? First of all, let me just explain a little bit about business. We're very lucky that the US is a capitalist system. We have a free market, and basically what the free market allows is for supply to meet demand and for things to get sold at the equilibrium. That's just basic economics. And so let me specifically talk about one shoe, which was the Kobe 4 Undefeated, which was it's available in a couple different colors. It came out in August. This shoe, basically, people thought it was gonna have a great resale, and this shoe like wasn't moving like basically at cost on most sizes and most colorways, or just like a little bit above cost, which was $180. It was doing that literally since it came out in August. And so Kobe, you know, he passes away, and I'm assuming fans go on, they try to buy the shoes. I know resellers are going on trying to buy the shoes as well. The thing that you have to understand about how like a StockX works is that people put their asks in like ahead of time. Sometimes people put in like ridiculous asks that are way higher than other people, and they just kind of do it just to have it on their account, just to be in there. Maybe they don't care if they wait until all the other items sell. And so when people go in and they start buying stuff, they're buying it up from the cheapest to the most expensive. So the first thing StockX is going to sell is the cheapest available, and then it's going to go up. So if there really was an influx of people going to the site buying it, whether it was fans or whether it was resellers, I don't distinguish in this situation, they're just buying it up based on preset prices that were set before people knew he died. And so when we talk about something like this, the intention is what matters, because is it the intention of a reseller to come out and get $900 for something that previously costed $200 yesterday from a grieving fan? Or was it people that had previously just set their price, made stuff up, and next thing you know, they're in a situation where their shoe, way overpriced, maybe there's 20, 30 of them at the same size available at cheaper, sold, and now theirs is the cheapest. That's not their fault. You know, they're not going out of their way to raise their prices. Are there some people that went on and heard this and raised their prices? Yeah, there is. It's a finicky line, right and wrong, because like I just said, we live in a country where that's what you're allowed to do. Not only is that what you're allowed to do, this is how it works. Supply meets demand. If demand goes up, then, you know, producers, they're allowed to raise their prices. You know, it really deviates from business, and it gets into like this whole ethical discussion. And it's difficult because I understand both sides. I understand how some people are like really upset, and they feel like basically fans and certain people are being like taken advantage of. To a degree, yes. But at the same time, this also is not a product that is in stock somewhere. This was produced, there's a certain amount of them in existence, and they're not going to be making any more. You know, it's not the same as if Nike, that had a bunch of Kobe stuff in stock, you know, jacked their price up 20% for that demand. We're talking about people that they own the stuff, it's theirs, they're not the manufacturer, they're just a reseller, they're a middleman, and they don't really have any obligation to not raise their price. They're specifically doing it so they could raise their price regardless of the circumstances. And as a consumer, you need to understand the difference between buying from someone that's a reseller and buying from a company that is also the manufacturer, like Nike or Adidas or Under Armour, Reebok, any of those. Also, you gotta realize that people are gonna do this because it is just supply and demand, and if the demand is that high, those people are willing to pay the price. So if you're willing to pay the price, the question becomes, how are you really being taken advantage of? Because you see what the price is and you're willing to pay it. And as a consumer, that's something you have to figure out. I remember back when there was Hurricane Sandy a couple years ago and there was limited gas, some of the gas stations were like raising their price, and they would call that price gouging because it's a natural disaster. That's not ethical to raise your price like a crazy amount. Obviously, there's just a certain level of acceptability of, the price is gonna fluctuate of gas like it always does. If it goes up a little bit because there's, something, that's okay, but there's a level where it's too much. But also, it's not a necessity. None of this stuff is a necessity. We don't need it to live. This is stuff that people wanted. They wanted it because they wanted to have that remembrance of Kobe. If they're willing to pay $800 for something that was just $200, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I still think that the seller is helping the buyer obtain the item that they want, which is what the buyer wants in the first place. That's where I get a little bit confused with some of these people's angles and stuff. And I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. I do think there's a kind of an element where it's wrong, where people are like kind of going around like parading it, like, oh, he just died, everyone should buy the shoes. And it's like, something happened, it's very recent. I understand it affects the market and you can do whatever you want. I went out and I bought a couple pairs right away, and I didn't go out to flip them right away for a quick flip. One or two of them is gonna go in my personal collection, and the other one is gonna be just to hold for a really long time. And my logic about it wasn't money. I'm a huge Kobe fan personally. I know a lot of people, they're not as big a Kobe fan, whether an athlete or a person, and they just see an opportunity, and that's fine for them. Also, StockX is donating all the fees off the Kobe stuff to Kobe and Vanessa Bryant Family Foundation, I believe it is, which is a really nice thing. The more money that the shoe sells for, the higher that fee is, and so the more money is going to be donated. And so that's how I'm trying to look at it. And I know a lot of stores also pulled merchandise. Urban Necessities wouldn't let people raise prices, which I'm against that because they have no right to do that. Basically, I send them their stuff and then the price goes up and they're telling people that sent it that they can't raise their price, which pretty much hurts those people that were selling and helps people that are buying, because I actually bought off of them stuff that evidently they wouldn't let the person raise their price. That's my opinion about that. I'm kind of just somber here, pretty sad, really still reeling from this. And obviously everyone is in a period of basically reevaluating. They see something like this and it makes them want to go out, do more, achieve more, work harder, set goals. And that's great and all, but we've seen this before. This is not the first person who was inspirational, successful, who was well known to die. I feel like, a week goes by, a month goes by, and we say we're gonna do it, and then this time passes, and you know what? We forget it until the next person dies, and then we say it again and we don't do it. And we've seen this before, and so what I'm getting at is whatever you want to do, whatever your goals are, whatever your dreams are, whatever that thing is in the back of your mind at night when you can't sleep regardless of what time it is, that one thing that in the back of your mind that's just telling you to hop out of bed and do something else, you need to make that happen today. You don't need to wait till tomorrow. You don't need to wait till next week. You don't need to wait till your circumstances are better. You don't need to wait until your family is gonna accept your decision. You don't need any of that, because what it comes down to is the fact that you don't need anyone else's validation. You don't need anyone else's praise. You don't need anyone else's acceptance. You don't need anyone else's approval. You need to do what you want to do, because I've seen it before and I will see it again. Most people that are born and pass away, they do not even live a life. They live a part of a life, and they never grasped that thing that they loved, that they should have been doing, that was their gift. And if you never grasp your gift, then you're never really going to be able to truly and fully succeed and fully give back to the community, give back to the world, really. And that's why I'm coming on here and I'm trying to inspire you, because you're gonna die. Really, you're gonna die. You could die tomorrow. You could die today. You could die next week, next year, next month. And you know what is also gonna die? Everything you want to do. All that unfinished stuff. All projects that were in progress. The same shit you've been working on for years. That you've been saying it's coming along, but you know you're just bullshitting yourself. Make it happen. There's no room for excuses. There's plenty of room for failure, because if you're gonna succeed, you need to embrace failure. You need to love it. You can't just try to do something, fall down, and say that you surrender. That is not what winners do. That is not what Kobe did. That is not what anyone successful that I've ever seen in my entire life do. So if there's one thing that you're gonna take away from this, get up right now, shut your computer off, shut your TV off, shut your phone off, go. Do what you need to do now, because otherwise it's gonna be your funeral. And people are gonna talk about all of the great things that you did not get to finish. Thank you for the time. I hope you got something out of this. Please comment your thoughts. And I'll see you guys in the next one.